Imagine you've spent years watching other men capture all the attention of the women you're interested in. You observe them and think, why does it work with them and not with me? You try to approach, but you don't know what to say or how to keep their interest. You end up overthinking every move, and by the end of the night, another opportunity slips away. It's a repetitive pattern that leaves you with a great emptiness and the feeling that you'll never manage to conquer those sexy women you so desire. In this first chapter, I will show you a path to break that cycle. You will learn how to detect the hidden lack that each woman projects, those needs that, when satisfied, generate an almost irresistible attraction. By understanding and recognizing these signals, you will finally know how to position yourself perfectly to awaken the interest of those girls who, until now, seemed unattainable. And don't worry, because in part 2, we will delve deeper into the seduction process, and I will share more advanced tactics so that little by little, you stop being the one who watches from a distance and become the man who seduces naturally wherever he goes. Now let me explain the victim theory. It is something we must be very clear about before moving on to the identification of the 18 types. No one in this world feels completely satisfied. At some level, we all have a hidden need or an unfulfilled desire, a longing for attention, passion, adventure, approval. The list is very long. What we lack, whether it's attention, romance, excitement, adrenaline, validation, etc., becomes the gateway to seduction. When you find someone who can detect that void and fill it, it's almost as if that person has the key to what completes you. Consequently, the power the seducer gains over the victim is much stronger than we believe. And here is where everything becomes fascinating. By becoming that person who can cover others' lacks, you will not only gain their attention but also a strong power of attraction. That's why in the next few minutes we will analyze each victim category and how to realize what they are missing. But before that, you need to understand the importance of the great void. Let's start with the great void in each person. One of the first things you must understand about human psychology is that, without realizing it, we all carry within us a void, a lack or an emotional need that we haven't been able to fully fill with our own lives. Sometimes it's the desire to live great adventures, sometimes it's the nostalgia of childhood, or even the desperate search for approval. Whatever it is, this gap becomes the vulnerable point that opens us up to the possibility of being seduced. But how do we identify subtle signs of this void? There are several ways. Let's start with the way someone dresses or styles themselves. People who feel lonely might dress flamboyantly to attract attention. Others, more shy, might wear discreet clothing because they fear rejection. Both say a lot about what they yearn for. There are also favorite conversation topics. Someone who constantly talks about exotic travels might feel that their life is monotonous. If someone always mentions their desires for personal growth, they might be seeking recognition deep down. Or the behavior of certain people in meetings or events. Some monopolize the conversation to feel they shine, and others hide in a corner, longing for someone to discover them. Everything, absolutely everything, reflects a type of void or need. The most important thing is to know that most of us are not aware of that unmet longing. We continuously try to ignore it or fill it with distractions. However, when someone appears and personifies or promises what we so deeply desire, it is almost inevitable that we feel attracted. Therefore, if you master the art of identifying that void, you will have an immense advantage when it comes to seduction. Why the victims are ready to be seduced. In this context, the word victim is not intended to sound manipulative. It simply describes a person who is open to seduction thanks to that unmet desire we mentioned. It's not that this person is naive or weak, but that, by their own human nature, they have an internal gap and are looking for someone who, consciously or unconsciously, can fill it. Having an unconscious longing. Often someone with a void passively seeks someone to fill it. It's not a declared or obvious search, but every decision, every gesture, and every relationship they start is fundamentally driven by that lack. The power of the promise. From the moment the victim identifies that you can give them what they need, whether it's adventure, romance, stability, excitement, or even validation, they will feel a natural attraction to you. Now let's talk about seducer versus destiny. For the victim, that attraction might seem like destiny or chance. For you, the seducer, it's an intelligent strategy of observing their signals and providing just what they lack. Understanding this completely changes the dynamics of seduction. It's no longer about superficial tricks, but about recognizing the exact point where the other person is receptive. By positioning yourself as that piece that completes their inner puzzle, you become magnetic in their eyes. The key lies in observing and listening, the essential step to identify the great void, and therefore the victim's willingness is to be a great observer and an excellent listener. Instead of trying to impress with flashy words or exaggerated compliments, take the time to analyze in detail their everyday comments. Do they repeatedly say, "I don't feel valued at work or by their family"? Do they complain about missing excitement in life or that everything is always the same? Do their eyes light up when someone mentions travel, culture, or passion? Also, what they say about their past. Subtly ask about their past relationships. Which one hurt the most? Why? Observe if they mention that everything was better before, or, on the contrary, say they don't want to repeat certain experiences. Those stories reveal what voids persist and which longings are still unfulfilled. Their reaction to sensitive topics. Notice if they get emotional when talking about adventure plans or look nostalgic when someone shows them affection. Maybe they get nervous when discussing a certain type of relationship, which could indicate a wound or a repressed desire. And finally, the elements surrounding them, their home, office, or car, are a mirror of their inner world. Some have family photos everywhere, revealing the importance of family approval or nostalgia. Others may have souvenirs from exotic trips that they keep showing off, indicating their appetite for novelty and freedom. When you pay true attention, people are constantly telling you what they lack. Every decoration, every anecdote, every gesture in their body language is a clue. And if you know how to decode those messages, you can directly address that void. It is at this point where the spark of seduction ignites. Now let's begin with the 18 types of victims and how to seduce them. Pay attention because here is the raw material for you to start developing your seduction strategy. The disappointed dreamer. How to recognize her. Spent a lot of time alone as a child. Developed a world of fantasies influenced by movies, books, or music. Gets excited about romantic love stories, dangers, and adventures. However, in reality, encountered mundane relationships. Her tastes in movies, books, or decor are usually very romantic or dramatic. Leaves clues of feeling unsatisfied with her daily life and her current relationship, if she has one. How to seduce her. Provide her with the love story she yearns for. Be the personification of her dreams, hiding your earthly flaws. Feed her imagination with tales or promises of something different, mysterious. Avoid falling into too real or mundane attitudes or behaviors. Keep her romantic ideal alive. The spoiled princess. How to recognize her. Since childhood, received everything she wanted and got bored easily. Changed toys, places, and hobbies very quickly. Struggles to commit, changes jobs, partners, plans, constantly seeking variety and excitement. Exudes an air of having been a queen in her childhood, an inner aristocracy, sometimes unconscious. How to seduce her. Offer constant stimulation, new experiences, places, surprises. Show different facets of your personality. Don't let her box you in. Never reveal the intention of a long-term relationship at the beginning. She will feel trapped and flee. If you manage to capture her, becoming her source of entertainment can make her cling to you with childlike loyalty. The new Puritan. How to recognize him. Being Puritan is not just about sexual topics, but about mental rigidity, adhering to what is right. Can be very rigid on topics of morality, politics, tastes, or aesthetic standards. Strongly criticizes those who break the rules. However, inside, he is attracted to forbidden experiences and fascinated by what he appears to condemn. How to seduce him? Show yourself as a person who doesn't follow all the rules, but who intrigues him. Let him judge or try to correct you. Become a moral challenge. Gradually break down his barriers. When he finally transgresses his own rules with you, his hidden passion will explode. The crushed star. How to recognize her. Once shown, was attractive, talented, popular, and loved that attention, but now feels she has lost that status. Pretends to be indifferent, but it hurts that she no longer receives the same admiring looks as before. When receiving a little attention at gatherings, a spark lights in her eyes. She speaks of her past with nostalgia. How to seduce her. Make her feel like the center of the universe. Ask about her life, her past achievements, and feign genuine amazement. In front of others, elevate her shine. Lower yours a bit. Let her shine. Be charming. Don't compete for attention or show yourself too much as a star. Give her the focus and reward her for it. The beginner. How to recognize her. Full of curiosity about life. Doesn't know much about the world but observes it with fascination. Can be young or also someone older who retains that aura of innocence. Intrigued by malice, transgression, but at the same time intimidated by it. How to seduce her. Combine innocence in your attitude so she doesn't flee scared, with hints of having a dark side. Educate her not only sexually but in life experiences. Take her to new places and environments. Make her live intense emotions. Create an atmosphere of beauty and mystery. Avoid anything vulgar. The conqueror. How to recognize him. These individuals have a competitive energy. They might not be extroverted, but they are eager for challenges. Fascinated by overcoming obstacles in work or social life, they appear tense if they don't have something to conquer. In relationships, they get bored if everything is too easy. How to seduce him. Don't show complacency immediately. It's key that they see a challenge, some resistance. Use flirtation and the game of approach, retreat. His intense energy can be intimidating. Leverage it so that he tires himself trying to conquer you, becoming dependent. The fetishist of the exotic. How to recognize her. Lives fascinated by cultures, objects, or styles different from her everyday environment. Often surrounds herself with decorations, music, or art from other countries. Possibly travels a lot. Deep down, rejects her own identity or social class, always seeking something that distances her from herself. How to seduce her. Show yourself as exotic. Exaggerate a bit your roots, accent, culture, or any trait that makes you different. Create an atmosphere where she feels immersed in something new. Attention. She will get bored quickly when that rarity loses its initial charm. She is not a stable target. The queen of drama. How to recognize her. A person addicted to emotional ups and downs, whiny or always has tragic stories to tell, loves being the victim, experiencing the intensity of fights and reconciliations, has had multiple relationships that ended in catastrophe. How to seduce her. Provide her with conflict, chaos, and passionate reconciliations. Too much stability bores her. She needs ups and downs to feel alive. They are stormy relationships, but can be fun if you know how to handle the drama without getting burned. The teacher. How to recognize him. Analytical and critical mind. Often hides some insecurity in his body or emotions behind an intellectual facade. Makes sarcastic or ironic comments. Appears to feel superior due to his knowledge. Seems distant or physically inhibited, but inside longs to free himself from so much self-analysis. How to seduce him. Let him believe that he is smarter than you, that he can judge or correct you. Don't argue with his wisdom. At the same time, seduce him with intense sensations that make him lower his mental guard and let himself be carried by the body. Make him feel like a Don Juan or a great seducer. He will become your puppet as you free him from his mental prisons. The beauty how to recognize her has always attracted attention. Learn to live with superficial compliments. secretly fears not having any virtue beyond her physical appearance, feels lonely because many approach her with admiration, but few delve into her mind or feelings. How to seduce her? Compliment, yes, her appearance, but above all, value her ideas, qualities, and talents that others ignore. Allow her to also make some effort in conquering you. A touch of your indifference can activate her desire. Be patient with her insecurities. Make her feel special beyond the physical. The aging baby. How to recognize him, her. Refuses to mature. Seems like an eternal child who avoids responsibilities. Fun in youth, but as they age, they can seem out of place. Doesn't seek another baby, needs an adult who takes care of what they avoid. How to seduce him, her. You are the adult figure, understanding and patient, who indulges and lets them play. Appreciate their childlike side, but remain firm and protective. These are asymmetrical relationships. The aging baby can be somewhat narcissistic and demanding. The rescuer, how to recognize her. Attracted to wounded people, those with problems to solve. History of relationships with emotionally dependent or unstable individuals. Wants to help, but also enjoy the feeling of power and being needed. How to seduce her. Show vulnerability with a difficult past or a damaged personality that needs help. If you are a woman, be the damsel in distress. If you are a man, show yourself a bit defenseless against the world. Make her feel that her guidance or compassion is fundamental in your life. This will reinforce her attachment. The libertine. How to recognize her. Has lived all kinds of excesses and pleasures, perhaps due to having much money or a very free lifestyle. Exhibits a mix of cynicism and nostalgia for lost innocence. Often seduces the innocent to reconnect with the freshness she lacks. How to seduce her. Show yourself as young, not necessarily in age but in spirit, with some candor. Don't give yourself away quickly. Play being the person who distrusts her. This encourages her. Control the dynamics by staying a bit distant so that he or she insists on conquering you and regains that youthful feeling. The devotee of idols. How to recognize her. Feels an inner void that she tries to fill with spiritual beliefs or higher causes. Jumps from one faith, guru or crusade to another, seeking something that makes her feel fulfilled. How to seduce her. Become the object of her devotion. Pretend to share her spiritual or moral passion. By showing great purity or sublime qualities, you will occupy the place of her idol. Be careful with her inconsistency. Later, she might replace you with another cause or faith. The sensualist, how to recognize her. Values, aesthetics, smells, colors, flavors, extremely sensitive to the environment. Cold, boring, or unstimulating spaces depress her. Can be shy, as her hypersensitivity overwhelms her in social situations. How to seduce her. Offer sensory experiences, beautiful places, textures, aromas, soft music, good food. Pay great attention to details. Your gestures and appearance should invite visual or auditory pleasure. Repeat and vary these stimuli to keep her attraction alive. Sensualists quickly get hooked on delight. The lonely leader. How to recognize her. A person with authority, power, or great influence, always surrounded by flatterers. Doubts the sincerity of those who approach, feels isolated. Her mind is overloaded with problems and responsibilities. How to seduce her. Be authentic. Don't use empty compliments or treat her with excessive fear. Dare to show her a dose of truth, even to tactfully contradict her. She will be fascinated by your courage and honesty. Her mind is occupied. You will need time and skill to infiltrate her thoughts and fill that connection void. The fluid gender. How to recognize her. Has both a masculine and feminine side that fluctuate, not necessarily homosexual. Often feels forced to repress this ambiguity out of fear of social rejection. Might display exaggeratedly masculine or feminine traits to compensate. How to seduce her. If you also possess a mixed side, let it flourish in front of her so she feels free to express her repressed side.
Play with the ambiguity of roles. Allow her to experiment without judgment. If you don't share that fluidity, it's difficult to seduce her because she won't be able to release her true self with you. The siren. How to recognize her. Was a great seductress in her youth, enjoyed conquest and letting herself be carried away by impulses. Due to social pressure or aging, gave up her unrestrained life and settled down, but with frustration. Can maintain a stable relationship, but with a latent longing to run free again. How to seduce her. Present her with the opportunity to become that seductress from the past again. Make her believe that she is the one who seduces you, not the other way around. Caution. Her unfaithful nature can make her get bored quickly or seek other adventures. Handle her flame with subtlety. Remember that each type of person has a unique void that, if you learn to identify, will allow you to provide exactly what they are missing. It is precisely in that harmony of needs where seduction gains unparalleled strength. Imagine what it would be like for you to be able to read almost automatically the deep desires of the person you're interested in, and thus awaken their attraction in a natural way. Developing this ability for subtle scanning and deep reading will open a world of opportunities wherever you find yourself. From a friend's gathering to a party or even work, you will be able to recognize those signals that people emit without realizing it. When you master these 18 types of victims and know how to precisely apply the way to approach each one, you become someone irresistible who seduces naturally. However, this is just the beginning. The most decisive part is still missing: the practical method, the tactics, and the concrete steps that will allow you to successfully seduce and keep the flame of interest burning.
In part 2, I will delve into the exact strategies and tactics for each of these types and show you how to apply this knowledge in your daily life. So, if you truly want to become that man capable of seducing wherever you go and making every woman feel irresistibly attracted, you cannot miss the second part. See you very soon to reveal the tactics that will completely transform your way of relating.